All right, welcome back. Now it's time for us to get into a conversation about a very interesting book. And I saw the title and I was thinking to myself, I can't wait to get into this conversation. All right, so we're going to be talking with Professor Kofi Anyidoho this morning. He's a poet, he's a scholar, and for a lot of people, he needs no introduction. But we're going to be talking to him this morning. He's launched a book, or he's about to launch a book called Seed Time, Selected Poems by Professor Kofi Anyidoho. Prof, good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you so much.
Yes. All right, so how have you been, by the way?
I would say, okay.
Yeah? Okay. Okay, so let's talk about your book. What inspired Seed Time?
Seed Time goes together with another book with the title A Harvest of Our Dreams.
Okay.
I wrote, these are individual poems in different collections.
Okay.
Right.
Individual okay. All right. So that's the title.
What you have in your hands is a selection of poems from 5 of my published collections.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Collections which were published under different titles.
Okay. Okay. And you decided to put it together in one collection, picking from different books.
Right.
Why?
Well, that's a normal practice in the publishing world, in the life of a writer. If you are lucky enough to have, I've been writing for more than 50 years.
Yes.
Right.
So I have several books. When you have published a reasonable number, you select some of your and other people's favorite poems from each one and put them together to make life easier for yourself and for readers.
You know where
So
the
you don't have
ones
to
are.
buy 5 books
Yes.
to get a feel of what my poets. So that is a collection from 5 different collections of
Right.
poetry.
So, Prof, how long did it take you to put together this book?
No, putting it together was not a problem because the poems have already been published.
Right.
If it's a new thing, then it may be a challenge. The challenge here would be which one to select,
to select,
Yes, exactly. yes.
from which each of the books.
Yeah.
So what was there? I mean, I know Seed Time. It may seem obvious, but why Seed Time though?
You have to understand that writing, creative work, poetry, song, a play, is like giving birth.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, in the Ebe language, the poet is called Heno. Heno.
Okay. Which means?
Which means the mother of song.
Okay. Okay. The mother of song.
Who gives birth to
Gives
song.
birth to song. Yeah.
And interestingly enough, the verb that is used to sing is G,
Yes, G.
which is the same word used for what? Giving
Giving birth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ejiha.
Ejiha.
EGV.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So it's like sowing a seed.
Yeah.
You don't, harvest if you have not cultivated and put a seed in the soil.
Yeah.
And you acknowledge in that process the sources of the gift of the songs, the poems that come to you.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, in the good book, we have a scripture that refers to the seed time and harvest, right? Now, somebody did something with that phrase and said seed, time, harvest. In other words, between seed and harvest,
There's time.
There's time.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the process of waiting patiently in anticipation of harvest. And for a writer, what does that mean to you?
Sometimes you don't have to wait patiently.
Okay. What do you do?
It comes.
Okay.
And you should be ready. Sometimes you may be asleep.
Yeah.
Or you are so sleepy that it comes.
Yeah.
Kofi Anyidoho did research on a number of the greatest singers in the Ewe tradition, and each one of them confirmed that when the song comes knocking on your door, sometimes you may actually be asleep. When you wake up, you don't struggle and try to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
In the oral tradition, a great singer, without the benefit of pen and paper or now recording instruments,
Devices,
will have another singer who receives his or her songs.
Right.
Okay.
If a song comes to you at night, at dawn, midday, you have to go and look for that person.
And sing it to them.
You sing it to the person. Interestingly enough, you may forget by the next day.
Yes.
But that person is usually one with what? Very sharp retentive memory. You sing it to him or her once,
they can pick it.
you'll be able to play it back to you.
Right. So, Prof, you've written a lot of poems, obviously, but do you have a favorite when it comes to all your poems?
I won't answer that question. It's like asking me, I have 5, 6, 7 children.
Which of them is your
And you want me to...
Okay. But do you have other poets that inspire you?
Obviously. There is no creator, poet, singer, dramatist who will claim that
they are not inspired from anywhere.
doesn't get inspiration from. So in my particular case, it's there in the house. My grandfather was a great singer in the oral tradition. My mother was. The uncle who took care of me through school was also. So I take inspiration from them. But also, I went to school, was introduced to what?
Poetry.
Initially, in the wrong way, black sheep, which was insulting me, but I didn't know.
I didn't know it was an insult.
Right.
Yeah, I know, right?
I still think about that.
Yeah.
Right. Prof, like opening your book right now, I saw something very interesting. Some of the titles are in Ewe, like Dada, like Tugbeje V, but the poem is in English. Why is it that way?
It's, in my particular case and in the case of many other colleague African poets, we must always remember that we are actually harvesting from our own traditions.
Right.
And unfortunately, giving the harvest to some other tradition.
True.
Especially where you don't write in your own language. Okay. Most people who read my poems closely could tell that a lot of the things in there are coming directly, not only from the Ewe tradition, but other traditions, Akan, Ga, Yoruba sometimes.
Yeah, the African tradition.
Traditions. But you find ways of what? Translating, we can say.
Right.
But it's not always translation, but giving them a new expression. So that was how come in this case, Dada, you can't replace it with mother.
Yes.
Tugbeje
Yes.
has a specific, meaning.
Yes, true. You can't replace it just with lady.
Yes.
No,
So I have been writing in Ewe. I have a new collection that will be launching maybe in August.
Okay.
It's in Ewe.
Okay.
And the title is a challenge because when you say Gananya, that's the title. How do you translate Gananya into English?
Gananya. Words from Ghana. Words from Ghana. Oh.
So, but the best translation I know is very easy to translate it into Twi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is Ganasem.
Ganasem.
Asem.
Yeah.
Translate Asem into English.
Issues.
Ghanaian issues, Ghanaian stories, Ghanaian.
It cannot be the same.
It's not as simple.
It's ambiguous.
So
yes.
the best translation is actually in Pidgin English. Ghana Wahala.
Yeah.
Ghana Mata.
Yeah.
Ghana Wahala.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so I think that it's a very interesting thing we're talking about, in the sense that you can give it something in terms of the translation that sounds accurate, but somehow it's not adequate.
Yes.
It's not enough. It's like something's missing, in there.
Yeah.
What's the most challenging part of the writing experience for you? If you can share with us.
Sometimes it comes, and you have to, I've said it already, you have to be ready to receive it.
Yeah.
But it's like being gifted a child. You still have to take great care of that child. Make sure you feed it. So the challenge is to satisfy yourself that I have given it the best possible expression.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, why do you want somebody else to like it?
Right.
So you keep working at it. Some of the poems in my more recent collections, you find them. I wrote a poem for my good friend and elder brother, Atuko Yokai.
Okay.
There are 21 versions of it.
Oh, wow.
So I wasn't satisfied with the first version. I worked on a second version.
And then you kept working.
Worked on. Sometimes you wake up at night to do that.
21 versions.
At that point, I felt it's okay.
Satisfied, right.
Okay. Wow. Okay. We would like you to read something for us from one of your selections. But before you do that, when is the book launch happening? Where is it happening? What do we need to
The launch is scheduled for next Thursday, the 15th of June. And it will be happening at the University of Ghana, Maison Française, the venue, the French House.
Yes, the French House.
Not too far away from the bookshop, across from the library.
I think I know the location.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That runabout, the other dimension, opposite facing the library.
The library, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And at what time, please?
5 p.m.
5 p.m. Fantastic. Fantastic.
And we need to acknowledge the publishers.
Yes, the Pabli.
Pabli publishers.
Yes.
Mr. Kofi Pabli and Nana
Aredamwa. Yes, and Aredamwa.
Because this collection could have come out maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
Right.
Somebody who published one of my earlier poems, a Ghanaian publisher based in Britain, was going to do it. And then there was a bit of a challenge for his, Nana Ayebia, Ayebia Publishers.
Okay.
So it's a relief that a homegrown publisher has offered to do it. Yeah.
All right, Prof, can you read us any of your selected poems?
I don't know how come you open to Dada. Maybe a little bit of the title poem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please, seed time.
Yes, please.
Do not search too hard for words to trap these thoughts, the thoughts that bring the tears upon the harvest of our dreams. They say our thoughts are threads crossing and crisscrossing into new cobwebs of life. And I shall spin a handful of hopes against this cutback in our dreams, against this wild backlash of screams, even against these lingering doubts, are testing time for our faith in God. You know, we load our voice with these burdens, searching myths for miracle drugs, distant cures for our sickness of the soul. This land survived a flood of birth waters, but moon men came with gifts of thunder. So we drank a barrel of moonshine and lost seed time in seasons of harvest dance. But sun God comes to claim his own at harvest time. At heaven's other gate, a friendly soul appears, wearing a gown of velvet dreams. Oh, there is no curse on us, he sings. There is no curse on us. We who bought fevers from pawn shops of the world and thread byways with burdens in our voice. There is no curse on us. There is no curse on us. Our orphan laid an egg across the backyard of the skies. The rainstorm came and swept it all away. Again he laid an egg across the backyard of the skies. Again the rainstorm came and swept it all away. Today we sow a mystery seed in the bosom of well thoughts. Our predator birds shall have to prey upon their own anger, upon their own nightmares. We will not die the death of dreams. We will not die the cruel death of dreams.
Wow.
Those last two lines are lines I have borrowed from the poem of a colleague poet.
Okay.
Poet.
Okay.
Professor
We will not
Kojo
die
Poko Ajema.
the death of
Right.
We will not die
death of
the death of dreams.
Wow, that's powerful. So,
Prof, I have one question. Do you think poems should be read aloud or enjoyed silently?
Both.
Both.
It's not an either or.
All right. Okay.
But normally, it is the sounding of the poem
yeah.
that gives it life, full-blooded life, the sounding.
Right.
Yeah.
And that takes us back to our oral tradition.
Yeah.
Sure.
But we say oral tradition. But today in Ghana,
Yeah.
most of our younger poets have gone back. They are not anxious to put their, as they say, hide their poems
Yeah, in a book.
in a book.
Yeah.
So they call themselves what?
The spoken word.
Spoken word.
Spoken
Yeah.
word.
The artists.
Yeah. So, the collections out of which this book came from. I mean, you have Ancestral Logic
and Caribbean Blues.
A Harvest of Our Dreams.
Harvest of Our Dreams.
We have Earth Child.
Earth Child.
Tell us about Earth Child.
Earth Child is one of, when you asked a question earlier and I tried to avoid it, it's one of those poems that I hold very close
to your heart.
to my chest and through my chest to my heart.
So now we know. It's Earth Child.
It's one. It's one of the
Okay, all right.
Earth Child came out of an experience that made me engage in the African diaspora. I was at the time doing my PhD in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
And a colleague invited me to give a reading at the University of Texas in Dallas. after the reading, an African-American colleague, a little gathering, a little beering, a little whining, but most of all, music.
Yeah.
What music? Jazz and blues.
Oh, wow.
Before then, I wasn't really a fan of jazz.
Okay.
But that night, I listened and listened and listened to jazz and blues and blues. And
yeah, you fell in love.
by the time I got back to Austin, the poem came knocking.
Wow.
Right.
Earthchild.
Earthchild. Yeah, it's beautiful. Recently, Ama Atayadu left us. What are some of the memories you have with her and of her?
First of all, the news of her passing came to me that day. I was visiting I just came back from the US.
Okay.
I was in Miami.
Yeah.
When I picked up my phone and the alert was there. Where do you begin your recollections of? Some of us who are close to her, we call her Auntie Ama.
Yeah.
Well, it goes all the way back. You are hoping to become a writer. And you know that there are people who have cleared the path for you. And she was one of them.
Wow.
And writing about subject matters, the most incredible thing about her is as young as she was when she started writing, she was engaging in subject matters that most older writers avoided, like slavery.
Yeah.
Okay, and questions of what? The rights of women in society. She was young, gifted, and
daring.
Daring.
Yeah. Very daring.
Would write
Yeah.
and take on what others would avoid talking about. And do so effortlessly that you couldn't help falling in love with what you are reading, even though it may disturb your peace.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you very much for sharing this moment with us. Thank you very much for sharing the book with us and for reading seed time out of the book. So all roads lead to Legon, La Maison Française, Thursday, 15th of June.
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. It's
Thank
been
you
an
so
honor.
much, sir.
It's been an honor.
Well,
thank you for coming through. Any last words?
Thank you is always a give and take. I should thank you also for giving me the platform this morning.
Well, we really appreciate your time.
Appreciate
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so we've been speaking with Professor Kofi Anyidoho. And, it's not enough to describe him as a poet. It's not enough to describe him as a scholar. He is way, way more than all of that. If you can imagine an embodiment of 50 years of writing, experience, and so many books, and so many poems, and all of that, he's a colossus of a man. Thank you very much. We've been speaking with Prof. and we're going to take a quick break. Before we do that, the next conversation, we're going to be talking about a national swimming competition that's about to happen. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.